There was once a woman whose hands could turn clay into truth. She didn't sculpt what was beautiful. She sculpted what was real. Figures twisted in grief. Faces caught mid-scream. Bodies bent under weight no one else could see. Her work made people uncomfortable. And for a long time, she told herself that meant it mattered. But uncomfortable doesn't sell. And uncomfortable doesn't get loved. Her workshop was a small room with a single window that let in the morning light. Clay dust covered everything. The floor, the tools, her clothes, her hands. She would work for hours, lost in the rhythm of shaping, pressing, carving. When she finished a piece, she would sit back and look at it, really look at it, and feel something she couldn't name. This is mine. This is true. But when she showed her work to others, the response was always the same. Silence, polite smiles. It's interesting, very intense. Maybe if you made something a little more accessible, and then they would leave. And she would be alone with her truth that no one wanted. One day, a gallery owner came to see her work. He walked slowly through her studio, hands behind his back, eyes moving from piece to piece. She held her breath. He stopped in front of her latest sculpture, a figure curled in on itself, protecting something invisible in its chest. "You're talented," he said. Her heart lifted. "But this," he gestured at the room, "this won't sell." Her heart sank. People don't want to feel heavy when they look at art. They want to feel hopeful, inspired, safe. He turned to her. "If you want to be seen, you need to give them what they want." She thought about arguing. She thought about defending her work. But instead, she heard herself say, "What do they want?" She started sculpting differently. Softer lines, gentler expressions, faces that smiled instead of screamed. She made figures that looked peaceful, serene, easy to digest. And people loved them. "This is beautiful," they said. "This I would buy. You're so talented. Why didn't you make things like this before?" The gallery owner took 3 pieces, then 5, then asked for a whole collection. Her work started selling. People knew her name. They invited her to shows, wrote about her in reviews. She was no longer the artist whose work made people uncomfortable. She was the artist people loved. And for a while, that felt like enough. But something was wrong. She couldn't name it at first. It was subtle, a tightness in her chest when she sat down to work, a hesitation in her hands. She would start a piece, and halfway through, she'd stop. "Is this too much? Will they like it? Should I make the face softer, the pose safer?" Her hands, which once moved with certainty, now second-guessed every curve. One evening, she finished a commission. A mother and child, serene and smiling. It was perfect, exactly what they wanted. She stared at it and felt nothing. No pride, no connection, no spark of recognition. It was beautiful, but it wasn't hers. She walked over to the shelf where she kept her old work. The pieces no one wanted. The twisted figures, the grief-stricken faces, the bodies bent and broken. and brutally honest. She picked one up, a figure with its mouth open mid-scream, arms reaching upward. She had made this 3 years ago, in the middle of the night, after a loss she couldn't speak about. It was raw, ugly even, but it was true. And holding it in her hands, she felt something she hadn't felt in months. This is mine. She looked at her hands. They were clean now. No more calluses from long hours of work. No more clay dust under her nails. She had learned to sculpt quickly, efficiently, to give people what they wanted without investing too much of herself. It was easier that way, safer. But her hands felt empty. She thought about the woman she used to be, the one who didn't care if her work made people uncomfortable, the one who sculpted truth, even when it hurt. That woman was loud, difficult, unpolished, but she was alive. And this woman, the one people loved, the one who made safe, beautiful things, felt like a sculpture herself. Smooth, perfect, hollow. She sat down at her workbench, pulled out a fresh block of clay, and for the first time in years, she didn't ask herself what they would want. She asked, "What do I need to say?" Her hands trembled as she pressed into the clay. It had been so long since she'd worked like this, without a plan, without a filter, without worrying about the outcome. The figure that emerged wasn't beautiful. It was a woman, curled protectively inward, knees to her chest and arms wrapped around her knees. A pose of emotional protection and vulnerability. And when she finished, she sat back, covered in clay dust, exhausted. The piece sat in front of her, raw, unpolished, honest. She didn't know if anyone would like it. She didn't know if it would sell. But for the first time in years, she looked at her work and felt it. This is mine. The gallery owner came by the next week. He looked at the new piece. His face tightened. "This isn't what we talked about." "I know," she said. "This won't sell." "I know." He shook his head. "You were doing so well. Why would you go back to this?" She looked at the sculpture, then at her hands, still covered in dust, still strong. "Because I'd rather be unseen and whole," she said quietly, "than loved for someone I'm not." He left, and she stayed, alone in her studio, with her truth and her clay-covered hands. She didn't know if anyone would ever love this version of her work, but she knew something more important. She did love her work. We all sculpt ourselves. A little softer here, a little quieter there. We smooth out the edges that make people uncomfortable. We sand down the parts of us that are too much, too intense, too real. And we tell ourselves it's worth it. Because love feels better than loneliness. Acceptance feels safer than rejection. But there's a cost. And the cost is this: the version of you that everyone loves isn't you. It's a sculpture you made to survive. And one day, you'll look at it and realize you've spent so long shaping yourself into something lovable that you forgot what you looked like before you started carving.